Hi, you guys. It's Amina Spencer Bauman back with another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Creed. I have some really exciting things. I made a Creed purchase. I already own the Princess Oud from Creed, and I've had it for maybe about 5 years, but I really wanted to review Love in Black, and Saks Fifth Avenue is having their beauty event. So is Neiman Marcus. So it's Beauty Week, or at least it was. And there's an incentive to shop because there was a gift card. So I go into the store and there's this beautiful display. And the girl tells me that, have you smelled? That's the Creed's new Viking fragrance. And I was like, it's such a beautiful display. So this is Love in Black. And I'm going to get to the Viking fragrance, okay? See a little smudge there. Okay, Love in Black. Love in Black was launched in 2008, and it's really beautiful. Like, look at this. I mean, so Creed is a French perfumer and perfume company that has a really long history in the fragrance world. So it's been debatable how long it is. I read an article. I have my little notes here. I read an article, and there was a writer that disputed that Creed goes back to 1760, just as it states on their box. And he was like, 1760, I can't find anything. There would be an old antique bottle. I don't agree with that, because my parents' home, my mom's home, was built in 1912. And growing up, I remember her digging up in the back of her house to garden, and all these beautiful crystal bottles she dug up. And she told me, she said, back in the day, people used to bury their garbage. And these are perfume bottles from the early 1900s. And I was just blown away. You guys, I would sit and look at these little bottles, and we cleaned them out, and they didn't have any labels on them. Okay, so it didn't say what kind of perfume it was or oil. So just because there isn't a bottle that from 1760 or 1800, for that matter, that says Creed, doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And I hope I didn't lose anybody watching this video with that little bit of history, but let me get to this review. Okay, Love in Black. Launched again in 2008. So this is a fall fragrance. So this is a part of my fall fragrance series. Okay, so the notes are violet, Virginia cedar, which I love, Florentine iris, black currant. And this bottle is made of black volcanic sand. And it feels wonderful. Like, it's really cool looking. I'm not really into the whole all black type of thing, so I wouldn't call this packaging beautiful. It looks masculine to me, but that's okay. So let's get into it. Check the spray. Look at that. You guys see that? Perfect spray. Let's try it on my skin. You can see the oil content just that fast. Okay, so the interesting thing about this fragrance that I have to share with you, that I have never experienced before, the bottom note is the top note. How they were able to capture that, I have no idea, but it's kind of the thing. That's what they tell you. The lady told me, the Creed specialist told me, that the bottom note is the top note. So I'm immediately getting cedar. So when you spray it in the beginning, you can be turned off a bit because it's very woody and strong. But then it just turns into something so beautiful and luscious that you're going to love this. I can keep smelling my wrist or my hand, but I will tell you that this stays very woody on me for about an hour. And then it dries down. It turns into a floral, and then the iris, and then the black currant. So it gets really sweet and delicious, but not gourmand sweet, just sweet, and that's it. Like sweet. This is beautiful. And this is even more beautiful. Do you guys see that oil on my hand? Do you guys see that? This is so nice. I'm in love with this. I used to smell this all the time and I never knew if I really wanted it. Also, I want to let you guys know that I sell my fragrances on Poshmark at a fraction of the cost. And I'm going to be posting new fragrance by Poshmark. I will link it below. But it's called Amina's Closet. And it's wonderful. I am a perfume collector, but I am not a hoarder. So having a whole bunch of different things that I know that I won't use doesn't make me feel good. I would much rather give them to someone that's going to enjoy them. You know, that's kind of my thing. So still getting the woods. I gotta be honest, it hasn't taken me on that journey yet. This has a long dry down. This does not happen within the first 60 seconds or 2 minutes or even 10 minutes to an hour. 60 minutes, you're starting to get the other notes. And then that's just that. But Love in Black, I love you. I love you. I will always have you. This is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Okay, let's talk about Viking. So I was a dork and I had my sales person. Her name is Yulia, by the way. You can go check her out. She's at Phipps Plaza. She's actually the beauty specialist for La Mer. But she's really good at taking care of all your needs. So I had her taking pictures of me in front of it because it was a beautiful display. You guys know I love oranges. For my subscribers, you know that citrus is one of my favorite notes. So they had oranges and greenery and everything. It was just really beautiful. Then I got the bottle and I sprayed it. And I was disappointed. That smells like uncle. It just smells like somebody's uncle. I don't even want to smell it. It has an interesting thing I like. There's a mint in there, which I think mint and citrus should happen more often in fragrances. But that just doesn't smell good to me. And I am not one of those people that's just like, oh, everyone else loves it and I love it too. But I am one of those people, as you guys know, that can smell something and not like it and a year later love it. I am never going to like Viking. Probably because I have like zero Viking blood. I have a lot of different things that you can't see going on inside of me and my lineage, my ancestry. But Viking probably isn't one of them. Okay, so it says that the notes in this one are infusions of ambergris, vanilla, okay, I'm not reading that correctly. Let's just scratch that because that can't be right. That cannot be right. I think they're just describing something else. Oh, and by the way, when you purchase one of my fragrances on Poshmark, if you do, I give lots of samples, and sometimes they're gifts with purchase samples. So actually, they're almost like an ounce, some of the samples, and that's just free with your purchase. I don't know the notes in this guy, and I'm not going to pretend that I do, but that's how much I like it. So with my Creed purchase, I got a little discovery set as a gift. Ooh. And I'm excited. I'm going to do a review on these because they smell good. I mean, I like Creed. I'm not a Creed girl. Like, I'm not, you know, one of those people that's going to have like 4 or 5 different Creeds. I think Creed smells really good on men. But they're just, it's not my favorite fragrance house, but it has my favorite story. Creed and Killian has 2 of my favorite stories. Because the story with Creed is Creed actually is 1760. But in the 1800s, Oliver Creed was commissioned by King James III to make a fragrance because back in those days, you guys, in Europe stunk really bad, especially France, but all of Europe stunk because they didn't have good hygiene and they didn't have good sanitation practices and they didn't have a sewage system. So they, number one, and this is something anyone can find in history, they believed that submerging their body in water was unhealthy. Okay, so they did not bathe. They would sponge bath maybe once or twice a year. And they also had horrible plagues, like all the time. And their feces, and when I say feces, I'm talking about their poop and pee, they used to chuck out their windows of their homes. So the streets were just gross. So when the king and queen and things would come into the town, it would smell really bad. So that the story states, or has it, that Oliver was commissioned to make, some people say a glove, but that's not what I was trained. And I actually was Creed trained when I worked in the industry. It was a handkerchief that went inside of the glove. And the king used to hold the handkerchief over his nose. And if you watch old movies, you'll sometimes see the glove, and that is how they mask the horrible, horrible smell. Even Versailles, that beautiful golden palace, had a sewage problem and smelled really bad. So perfumes were really important back in those days, but unfortunately only royal people had access to fragrances. So that's a little bit of history there. So Creed, I believe, does go back that far. The way that there's an old-timey richness to Creed's fragrances, and even if I am not partial to them or don't love them personally, all of them, I can smell the richness. I can smell the history. Like, I can tell that this isn't something that people are just throwing together and saying, oh, this is grand. There's a lot of skill put into the nose. The whoever creates them now, which I believe is the grandson, whose name is also Oliver. I think that he's at the top of Creed. But Creed is amazing. I love it. I love the story. I love the history. And it kind of is a segue to kind of do some research about, you know, where did fragrances come from? You know, I really love talking about that. So you guys, I hope you're having a good week. And we're going into fall. This is one of my fall favorites. And I'm going to keep them coming. I do understand that most people wear different fragrances in different times of the year. I personally don't, but there are some things that are definitely for winter, especially if you live in a climate like I do that has a lot of humidity. Some stuff that you're just not giving it any justice. It needs air. It needs to be aired out. Okay, guys. Mwah. Love you. Bye.